truly looking into how to better manage your cash flow. I mean, it always comes down to cash flow. Hi, everyone. It's Tina with Picture It Profit and Financials, where I help coaches, service providers, and consultants get their money life in order both at home and in their business. Today, I want to talk about something that I see a lot of folks do, and it needs to be corrected, point blank. Ultimately, I want folks to know their numbers. This is what the power of bookkeeping is, and this is why I like working as a CFO for my clients. I explain to them what their numbers are, and there is so much valuable information about how to run your business when you're looking at those numbers. And I have to tell you, knowing your numbers is much, much more than looking at your bank balance through online banking or just checking your bank statement once a month. It is more than looking at your Stripe or PayPal deposits. In my last video, I talked about the importance of cash management for a little bit. As we talked about the accounts receivable and the accounts payable aging summary reports. And while those reports will absolutely help you, I find that if you are not tracking your numbers in a bookkeeping system, then you can't generate those reports. So what you have to understand, and what's really paramount, is that cash and managing cash, knowing what bills you have to pay and knowing who owes you money, this is what is the lifeblood of your business. When it comes to running a business, everybody thinks total revenue, like that's the most important thing. And they'll also think, keeping your expenses low. Like these are two parts of the puzzle, but it's really a three-part puzzle that you have to think about. If you want your business to truly grow and you want it to thrive and survive for the long haul, you need to understand what money do I have coming in and what money do I have going out. But you also have to understand, when are those things happening? When do I expect to receive money? When do I expect to have money going out? So if you just look at the bank balance and say, well, I have this much cash, then you might think you're in a great position, but you're not keeping in mind that you have to pay yourself, you have to pay your staff, you have to pay your bills. This is the power of cash flow forecasting. And I have talked to a lot. Honestly, this is probably the number one thing that gets people to work with me. They don't have it in them to do this, or they don't have the time to do this. They don't want to do this. They just don't like dealing with numbers. So I get it. I really do. But I have some prior videos that talk about operating expense, cash flow forecasting, and budgeting. You guys, if you have a simple business, it's a very simple thing to do, and you can do it for yourself, and then you can hire help when you get to the point that you can afford help. So I just want to say again that in your business, there are different things besides just your bank balance that are going to tell you whether or not your business is healthy. And actually, there's 4 of them that I want to specifically call out. The first one is knowing your total sales, right? This is what a lot of people focus on, and this is maybe the only number that they care about. And it reminds me of a story. So I heard of a boy, I think it was last Christmas, who made like $2 million in gross revenue, like total revenue. He made $2 million selling PS5s that he got his hands on. But here's what people thought, like, this guy's going to be so rich. No, he wasn't, because even though he was able to sell $2 million worth of PlayStations, he only kept $20,000 of it. So listen, $20,000 is still a great come up and good for him. But your total revenue is not a great indicator for how your company is doing overall. It's a good indicator if you're watching it over time and you're seeing that your total revenues are growing. That means that you're selling more value to more people. That's important, but that number alone is not going to cut it. So then what is the other thing you need to know? Well, the next thing you need to know is gross profit, right? This is what it costs to deliver the product or service. So again, using that boy who sold $2 million worth of PlayStations, if he was only keeping $20,000 at the end of it, that means that it cost him almost $2 million, just shy of $2 million, well, $20,000 shy of $2 million to deliver the service, okay? So let's use a different example. Let's say you're a house painter But you're not going to paint it yourself. You're going to hire staff to go paint this person's house for you. If you charge somebody $2,000 to paint their house, but then it costs you $1,500 to deliver the service, then it doesn't really matter that you made $2,000 in total revenues. It's the $500 left over that matters. But that's not all. What if it ended up costing you, $100 in advertising to get that client? That's part of your operating expenses. That's the third thing. So the first thing is total sales. The second thing is your gross profit. So what did it cost for you? What were you left with after you paid for the delivery of your service or product? And then the third thing is your operating expenses. Ultimately, how much did it cost for you to run your business? Something that's not covered in your operating expenses, if you are a single member LLC, is going to be what you pay yourself. So you have to keep that in mind. Like, you are not running this business to break even. You are running this business so that you can make money, so that you can pay yourself something out of it. So you need to know what those operating expenses are so that you can ultimately understand your net income. And your net income is that, proverbial bottom line. It's the amount of money that's left that your company has actually made, right? So you've painted a house for $2,000, you paid somebody else $1,500 to do it, so you kept $500, and then you spent $100 to secure that client in marketing expense. So you're left, after everything's said and done, with $400. Now, of that $400, you could take it all for yourself. You're going to pay taxes on it anyway, so you can absolutely do that. But you might choose to set some of that money aside for future taxes, or you might choose to set some of that money aside for future investment in your business. These are all of the kinds of questions that you have to be asking yourself. But you have to remember that just looking at your balances and looking at your total deposits overall is not the answer to understanding if your company is healthy. You need to look at all of those four KPIs. Those are actually KPIs, or key performance indicators for your company. So always be looking at what's driving your total sales. Always be looking at what's driving your gross profit. Always be looking at what are your operating expenses? Can you run lean? And then always be looking at what is your net income, because that net income is what you're going to pay taxes on, but it's also what you're going to pay yourself out of, assuming you are a single member LLC, which is what the lion's share of my clients are. Now, I'll be honest, there's a bunch of other KPIs that I discuss and keep eye on for my clients. If you're interested in learning more about key performance indicators, let me know and I can do a video on that. So just leave a comment. But ultimately, if you are obsessing about your deposits and then you're thinking you're doing great, but it turns out a month later you're just eking by, then it's time for you to start really looking at those other metrics that I discussed in this video and truly looking into how to better manage your cash flow. I mean, it always comes down to cash flow. You can be a company that has a ton of money in revenue and even sometimes has a good looking net income. But if you don't have money to pay your debts that you took on to start that business or to pay yourself, then something's really the matter and you're running out of cash most likely. So if this is you and you're tired of feeling that way about your business, reach out to me. I'm taking new clients now, and it's something that I would love to speak with you about. So schedule a consultation with me and we will talk through what the next steps are. Anyway, guys, I hope you're having a fabulous day. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.